सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। अचिन्त्यमव्यक्तमनन्दशक्तिं शिवं प्रशान्तममृतं ब्रह्मयोनिं तदादिमध्यान्तविहीनमेकं विभुं चिदानन्दमरूपमद्भुतम् ॐ नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। So what are you? You are thinking, are you a Shaivite or a Vaishnavite? Vedantin can pray to any God. Why? Namarupa is not the not the God. So any God, it is okay. The principle of God I see in all the Namarubas you have superimposed on you. Oh, then I can. If your Krishna is your Ishta Devata, where you go? You go to Ayyappan temple also, Sri Krishna. Because there is no abhinatvam is there always. In our understanding there is abhinatvam. Then it doesn't matter where you go, with which God you worship. Every God you can, every temple you can go. Even you can go to church or mosque or anywhere. Mosque you can't go. Women can't go. They will throw you out. Every other place you can go. This type of, what do you call it? Vishalamana. It has to be cultivated by Vedanta. That is what I mean by saying no divisions. Every division is samsara. The moment you make divisions, you are become a samsari. So no divisions at all. That type of divisionless mind is called a mind which is extrovert is samsari. Mind which is introvert, asamsari. What is samsari? If you remember this, you will want to always be introvert. And why we tell you don't talk too much, don't talk too much, because talking always makes you extrovert. The moment you talk, you have become extrovert. It is about something or somebody or... So, yavad hedubalavesha samsaras tavadayada. There, the moment you see karyakarana, also you are a samsari. When there is no karyakarana, there is only one thing. Karyakarana will stop only when you remember there is only one thing in this world, and that one thing is Brahman. Once you realize that, Shine hedubhalaveshe samsaram na prapadyate. Samsaram is not there. And continuing, he says, we read it. Samvritya jayade sarvam shashwadam nasti tena vai. Samvritya here means avidya. Samvriti. Samvriti means littleness. In a small space. Space is small, meaning, what is that? Even, what is in your book? Samvritya, the concept of birth is only an illusory experience. It is, samvriti means avaranam. Avaranam, you can give the meaning, avaranam. You have misapprehension. Avaranam is in Maya. Maya has two powers, Avaranam and Viksheba. Avaranam is non-apprehension, Vikshebam is misapprehension. Both these together only Maya. So when we say Maya Vidyate, don't think Maya is some other character in the picture. No. The non-apprehension of the truth is leading to misapprehension. And where does it, and that is called Maya. That is called Maya. Understand? Non-apprehension gives rise to misapprehension, and both together is called Maya. In other words, what is really covering your knowledge is only ignorance. It is called Maya. Another word for it. And here he says, Samvritya, all this Laugika Vyavahara is because of this Avaranam. Avaranam or Laugika Vyavahara, Samvritya, the cause of samsara is being talked here. Samvritya jayade sarvam shashwadam nasti tena vai. There's no reality, shashwadam. They are not going to be permanently there. By ignorance I see something that is not going to be permanently there. It is only a temporary experience. So, whatever I am seeing is unreal, and whatever I am experiencing is also unreal in the Maya world because of ignorance, and therefore, in fact, there is nothing that is permanent in your understanding. When you are looking at the world through the mind, then what happens? There you see so many things. Nanatvam you see. You never, when you, what do you call it? Yegikritya. When you have made the mind's rays concentrated and turned towards the higher, that is called meditation. When thus the mind's rays are all gathered together, then what happens? Realization takes place. What is a beautiful example of the magnifying glass and the little paper. Though the sun is always there, sun doesn't burn anyone unless you are in a desert. Usually it doesn't burn in. It is a samanya light. Is it not? Samanya heat also. Very general. But when it is concentrated through a magnifying glass on a piece of paper, it starts burning. Why? The entire heat is focused of the sun on that piece of paper. And children love to play that game, all the time. Small children. How it burns, it is a wonder to me. Adbhudam. Because their little intellect cannot understand how it can burn. So they will hold it on the mother's face also. The mother will give one. Because if it is burnt, it is a great loss for her. So she doesn't like all that. A child doesn't know how it burns. You have such a potential mind. A mind which can be focused like this on any object is a potential mind. It can know the truth also. When it is focused on that, it realizes the truth. Introvert mind. But extrovert mind always goes in the objects and the subject. That division is there. And in that karyakarana bhava, you keep on playing the game of life. So what is your problem? Extrovertedness. One by one you must know what is your problem. And that makes you a samsari, samvritya. The cause of samsara and its solution is being talked about here. Nasti tena vai sadbhavena hajam sarvam uchedastena nasti vai. When everything, nothing that is permanent in this world, everything being one with the ultimate reality, nothing is ever born. So, therefore, there is nothing like destruction also. Now, he says, everything being one with the ultimate, sadbhavena. What is the true nature? Sadbhavam means the true nature of everything is ajam, Really nothing is ever born. And sarvam uchedastena nasti vai. Uchedam, destruction. So there is no birth, no death. Where in the world? These are born? No, they appear to be born. Is this whole world real? Nanatvam, is it real? No, they are only appearance. Vivartam. Thus understanding and going in search of the permanent and the real. And discarding. Now the beautiful word is used, Asparsha Yoga. Actually the best meaning of Asparsha Yoga is detached attachment. You understand what is that? That is also Gurudev's he coined those words. Detached from the world, detached means I have found them to be unreal and turned my attention to the real. Detached attachment is called Asparsha Yoga. No sparsha with the world of objects. Okay, so Sarvam, Advaita becomes difficult for a man caught up in Vyavahar. Why is it difficult? Oh, too tough. Then after the class, half the class will say, very tough. Why? Why is it tough? To the one who is there, reaching out to there, to them it is very easy. Ha ha ha, very happy. But to one who is caught up here, what amma, very difficult. And we smile. It has nothing to do with the subject matter. It has got to do with you. Subject matter is ever the same. What I see, adrishyam tajadam, and the drik alone is the satyavastu. That kshetrajna alone is the truth. All kshetram is only spandanam. Chitta spandanam. We have seen previously. That is all. And it is so easy to know to one who is nearing the truth. But one who is always still in the mire of samsara, he will say, oh, what concepts we can't understand. So we say, go for more satsangs, go for study more. What else can we say? Not that you are going to study anything more. This is it. Sakashta saparam gadi, finished. This is it. Now if you think you can get it from some other book, some other teacher, some other situation, they are all sahakari karanas, not really karanas. Karana itself we have denied. Okay. Difficult for a man caught up in Vyavahar, and hence he can't understand this. Because of ignorance we think the world is born. Already we have said that so many times. Wave is imperishable or perishable? Tell me. A wave is there on the ocean. Wave. Is it perishable or imperishable? Perishable only. What is this? It's only a wave in the ocean of bliss. Spandana. In the ocean of bliss, there is a song also. In that blue ocean of bliss, I am a little wave. I means my jiva bhava is only a little wave. Is it perishable or imperishable? It's perishable and it is perishing also. Not only the wave comes and before you see it, it has gone. Is it not? Similarly, all that appears here disappears. Even if God is coming here and appearing before you, He has to disappear. Is it not true? Why do Puranas say always He appeared before Prahlada, before Dhruva, before anybody? But He says, what do you want? Why did you call me? And you say what you want. Varam. Boon. He gives the boon, but it doesn't stay anymore. After that it disappears. Why it disappears? Everything that comes in this field has to disappear. Even Krishna, Rama, Buddha, everybody has disappeared. And the way disappeared also is very... Rama committed suicide. No, we must not use that word, but we must say he gave up his body. Where? In the Sarayu river. Is it not? You are able to accept that. But when you say everything is perishable, you are not accepting. Including God, when He descends in the world, it also, that body also will disappear. We don't want to think about it. Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna, He is so sweet. Yeah. But He also died with the arrow of a hunter. What is the meaning of it? How can an avatar, a Bhagwan, die? Bhagwan did not die. He has taken a body for a particular purpose. And if you have taken a body, that body is only Namarupa. It will have to disappear. What appears have to disappear. So what is God? That neither appears or disappears. The ever-existing reality, the Jyotiswarupa, even Jyoti and all, we have given names and all. Not real. The conscious principle in me is God. Ayo, my comfortable spiritual world also you are destroying. Other world is already destroyed. But you are destroying the comfortable world of mine. We can't help it. Truth is bitter sometimes. So, who is my Lord? Is one who can appear, who can disappear, who need not appear or disappear. That is your Lord. Think about all these things. Samvritya jayade sarvam shashwadam nasti tenave. Whatever is born has to perish. Jadasya hi dhruvo mrityu. Whether it is avatar, whether it is a great man, but as long as he is born, his body has to perish. So the question, you go into the Lord and say, I am having this disease, let me get over this disease and live forever and ever and ever. If I am Bhagavan, I will really appear before you and said, I couldn't even preserve my own body. Why should I preserve your body? If I can do that, I will do that. You understand? It is not logical. Which Lord you are asking? Ramchandraji. Ramchandraji, poor thing, he couldn't preserve his wife also. Once you come into this, you have all the problems of this. Avarana, Vikshepa is there. So just because it is avatar we call. Okay, let it be avatar. Once you have taken a body, you have to leave the body one day. That is all. And it is applicable to everybody. Even God takes a body, he has to leave the body. You have taken a body, you have to leave it. Not. Thinking like this only, we come to the conclusion that who is thinking all this, that conscious principle in you is the Lord. So you come from there, the temple doors, and come closer and closer and closer to yourself. Close, so close that this which will never become that. Continue thinking like that. Your thinking only will take you there. Namaru, adhyastam, namarupa drishtya. What is perishable? That which is adhyastam, that which is superimposed in the form of nama and rupa. There is birth and death. If you look at it from the essential nature, then there is no birth and death. If you are seeing the nama rupa, even in God, then it also has to perish. If you are seeing the essential in it, what is the essential nature of everything in this world is Sachidanandam. And if you are seeing the Sachidanandam, it has no birth and death. So, you are like that kukuda, kukudi. You are like that hen. Part of you is Sachidananda, part of you Namarupa. Namarupa is perishable. Sachidananda is not perishable. Have you understood this? You want to own the imperishable, mysterious power in you, or you want to own this body, mind and intellect all your life and it will not stay forever. That you decide. I am not telling you what to decide. Okay, as Jiva is mortal, but as Atma Swarupa, it is immortal. So when you say Jiva is not there, Jiva is not abhinnam from the Paramatma, that Jiva is the Jivatma, and that Jivatma is identical with Paramatma. Jivatma, Paramatma, Aikyam is the very crux of the teaching. The Jiva stands for all that is created, all that seen as created. Jiva is the first one to come, is it not? So, Jiva is a, what do you call that? Some lakshanam they say. Which is the indication of all that is born in this world. The mind is born, the intellect is born, the body is born, the objects are born, emotions, feelings, everything is born. But what is first born? The one who owns it all, and that is the Jiva. Later on the teacher has said Jiva is not born at all. Then at one stroke you have finished all this. What is then born? Nothing. No Janana Maranam at that level. Here only Janana Maranam is there. Whatever is born. A flower is born, by evening it is gone. Dead. Sadbhavena, but that because of that true nature, ajam swayam uchchedastena nastivai, not possible. Advaita becomes difficult for a man caught up in the Vyavahara, but its true nature is imperishability. It doesn't appear and disappear. It alone is. The isness in this world is all because of Advaita, because of the Sachidananda Swarupa Atma. Hence, everything is. Bad man also is. Is it not? Good man also is. Isness is the common thing between every object in this world. That isness, or the Buddhists call it suchness, is called the Satswarupa Atma. And Satswarupa Atma is common to everybody. In that Sat, in that total Sat, which is Brahman, there is no perishability. Janana Marana. Perishability means Janana and Marana. That is not there. And in the appearing things, there is everything seems to be born because of Ajnanam and not because of any other awareness that makes it possible for the individual to perceive and know the outer world of objects and inner world of ideas is the only reality. The pure consciousness is the supreme reality. So, in other words, whatever appears to be born here, if there is a karanam for any birth here, that is a dreamer. A dreamer had got married. In where? In the dream. And children were born. Dream children. These dream children have no reality. Because a dreamer cannot have real children. A dreamer can have only dream children. And the dream children is unreal for the waker. Or by many arguments he is telling you nothing is born. Whatever you saw or seeing or suffering or enjoying is all imaginary. Sankalpa. This such a thing you have to practice. Then you will see, you will get away from the sorrows of samsara. Otherwise you will be always in samsara, burning in it. Until it becomes unbearable, then you go to a teacher, Guru Upasati. And after getting the Guru, oh Guru, save me. In the Vivek Chudamani, save me. Guru says, from what? From samsara. Which samsara? There is no samsara only. Save me from bondage. Kadam sa mokshaha, kadhamagada. 7 questions he asks. Where from that moksha came? What is moksha? Ka atma, ka paramakka atma. What is that Paramatma? What is that Atma, Jivatma? Thus he questions this teacher. The teacher says, you are not at all in danger. Oh, my child, you are not in danger. I will save you. Teacher says, gives him consolation. In a very beautiful book is Vivek Chudamani. Dharma saidi jayante Dena tattvadaha Tena tattvadaha Janma mayopamam tesham Sajamaya na vidyade. Dharma, sa, those entities are born as whatever is born like this, idi jayante tena tattvadaha. This is the way things are born in this illusory world, but they are really not. There is no real birth. Tattvadaha na jayade. There is no real birth for anything that you see in the world of plurality. Janma mayopamam tesham. Like mayopamam. Nothing is born. They are only maya. Maya equal to maya. Sa maya na vidyate. And that maya is not there also. Very unusual way of explaining. It is equal to maya. Which maya? If you ask the maya, that is not there. So it is all very, very easy, that is. In fact, it is not there, but appears to be there. Is called, and when a thing is really, in reality it is not there, but a name is given to it, and it makes you feel that it is really there, that is called, that feeling is called, the name given to that entity is Maya. Akhadida ghatana padiyasi Maya. Maya makes the impossible possible. What is the impossible here? The reality of the world of plurality. It is impossible by all arguments, by Shruti, by Anubhavam. With all that, the world of plurality is a myth. Mithya. The English also got our word only. They say it is a myth, and we call it mithya. Many words are like that in English also. So it's a myth. And how do I feel this there? Because of this misunderstanding, non-apprehension, and though it is not there, you think it is there. That which is really there, you think it is not there. Opposite is also true. Huh? What is there? Atman is there, but yes, that I have not seen, I have not heard, I have not touched, I have not smelt. Atman. So how do you know it is there? The human being can know a thing only by the 5 sense organs. None of the 5 sense organs can apprehend Atma. So how do you know it is something like that is there? That is why we say there is no God, no nothing. No? So we say it is the experience of great masters. So we have to believe. Suppose you are a physics student. Only in MSc or BSc you are studying. And then if we say anything, it will not convince him. But suddenly you say, Einstein said like that. Einstein said, then it must be true. You understand? Is it not true? I am telling you, the teacher says, you go to hell. We don't believe you. Okay? But if we have come to the stature of Einstein, then if you say Einstein had said, oh, really? Then it must be true. Similarly here, we take our cue from great masters who had lived before us long ago and say rishis have said it. Rishis are who? Rishis are people. In India there are 3 types of people, I told you. There are in other parts of the world there are only 2. What is the 2 people? Those who have money, those who don't have money. Those who are rich, those who are poor. But in India there is a 3rd variety called those who have but do not want. And they are called in India rishis. Rishis means who? Who had sacrificed everything. Not sacrificed, they don't even feel it is a sacrifice. They have moved away from what is ephemeral to that which is permanent and the real riches. They have given up the mediocre riches of the mithya world and moved away to the highest, to the samrajyam that is theirs. They are called Rishimunis. Okay. Now he says, Yatha maya mayat bijat Jayade tanmayongura Nasau nityo na chochedi Tadvad dharmeshu yojana. So he says, suppose you are given yatha maya mayad bijaha. That which bija, which is mayopamam. Mayopamam can another meaning also. Maya. Mayopamam here means indrajalam, magic. Maya here stands for illusory. For a bija which is only illusory, not there. And from that maya, the Indrajalika shows you a tree, bija, anguram. Anguram comes from that. From that maya, bija. And now if bijam is maya, what is the anguram? That is also maya only. Don't say no, the anguram is real, but bijam is maya. How can that be? You understand? If what is born from is maya, it has no reality, then what comes out of it also is maya. So the magician cannot show you a real tree from a unreal bijam. Bijam is his own kalpana. So, but real tree has come out of it, and it is, and not only it came out, as you look only it grows. Have you seen that type of magic? And suddenly it bears a fruit also. maram, and it has got a ripe mango. And not only that, he takes the mango and cuts it into pieces and gives everyone a piece, which you eat. So much can be accomplished by a mere third rate also. Indrajala. Magician need not be first rate also. If that can be done, how Mayopamam is describing that in the magician, here the Gurudev also gives, the student may rather doubt how it is possible for one delusion to produce another delusion in its train when the very initial illusion is itself non-existent. Even to produce an illusion, there should be a origin to it. Is it not? The delusion has come from another delusion in this case. What is that? Bija is the delusion and the Angura is the delusion. When very initial delusion itself is non-existent, then what can come? Neither a delusion nor a real thing can come out of a delusory object. There is a frequent magic shown in the Indian marketplace wherein the magician shows a delusory seed which he elaborately places on the ground for germination, covers the spot, waters well with a basket. After a few moments, he lifts the basket and exhibits to a surprised public a seedling steadily grown under the basket. Yeah, a lot of fun we get out of seeing such a delusory tree, Maya tree. He again waters the seedling and keeps it under the basket. Within another few moments, the aghast crowd would gape at the seedling that has by then grown a full fruit on its branches. So the people will become aghast. How? Like that. And when a basket is for the third time placed over it and removed, the wonderstruck crowd would see the ripened fruit fallen at the foot of the seedling. That time only he is really doing the trick. You understand? How you see one ripe mango, and that ripe mango must be real, otherwise how can you eat it? Somewhere he had introduced a ripe mango. Kankatta we say, Kankatta Vidya. What is magic? At the foot of the magician picks it up and cuts it into pieces. Those who get a piece to eat are dumbfounded because it tastes exactly like a mango. Now can you say that mango is real? Yes, it must be real. But somewhere in the process, in between that basket changing, he has put the mango there. And who knows all these tricks? Magician. And also his chela. The chela of the magician knows all the tricks. He cannot do the tricks, but he knows what he is doing. The audience cannot know that. The audience understand. And they throw money for the magician. That is why Bhagavan says, my Maya, Mama Maya, Duratya, Daivi Hesha, Gunamayi, Mama Maya, Duratya. In the Gita he says, Mama Maya, Duratya. Nobody can overcome my Maya. They cannot go, cross over my Maya. Yomam prabhadyante mayam edam tarandite. Those who surrender to me, they overcome this Maya. So like the magician's chela knows all about the magic. When you surrender to the Lord, you know about his Maya also. This is your Maya, we know. We are never fooled by it. Is it not? You are not fooled by it. Because we don't surrender to the Lord only, we are Maya dasas. We are at the control of the Maya. Whereas Bhagavan is Mayapati. So what should I do? I should surrender. I don't know anything. I don't know many things. Not only anything. I don't know many things. But I pretend I know. Maya Bijam have the same order of reality. And what happens to it? Na sau nityo na chochedi. This is neither can you, it is not nityam, it is not permanent. Na uchedi, nor it has got nasham, because it is not there. That Maya Bijam is not a Bijam, something which appears as a Bijam, nor it can produce another tree, nothing of the sort. But you think it can by the magic. And it doesn't perish. In other words, vastus that you see in the Vyavaharika world and Jiva, they are all born out of Maya Bijam. Maya, from Maya, but it is not true. Therefore, they have no Nityatvam, not even perishability. See, one which is real only has perishability. Unreal thing, how can it have perishability? Unreal thing can neither be born nor can it die. Jananam, Maranam, both it doesn't. Because it is born out of Maya. Continuing, he says, Najeshu sarva dharmeshu shashwada shashwadabhida yatra varnana vartante vivekastatra nocyade. Yadhas, what is it? Najeshu sarvadharmeshu shashwadam shashwadabhida. The words permanent and impermanent cannot be applied to ego, to jivas which are unborn. Are they real? We cannot say, because it is not there. Are they unreal then? That also we cannot say. The reality and unreality is only for an existent object. When nothing is existing, how can you say it is real or unreal? First of all, an object must exist before you can do any type of discussion about it. How can you discuss something which is not there? Now, this is something zero. Nothing is there. Now you do the discussion. You would say, well, discuss on what? You understand? Now the jiva is not, it is established, it is not there. Najeshu sarvadharmeshu shashwado ashashwadabhida. The epithets of permanence and impermanence do not apply to an unborn thing. That which is indescribable, yatra varnana vartande. They are not, shabdas are not, shabdas cannot describe it. Varna means varnanam. Have you heard that word? In vernacular also it is that. Varnanam is not there. Meaning, words cannot describe, explain it. Atma is not shabda vyavaharyam. Varna means shabda vyavaharyam. It cannot be described by the shabda pramana also. Navartande, vivekas tatra nochade. And by words, it is indescribable by words and cannot be discriminated as true or false. All this is possible only when it is a real thing, not a Maya thing. If it is Maya, you just say it is Maya, hence it has neither birth nor death. And we cannot describe an object which has neither death or birth. Is it not? Enough, no? Do you think it is enough? I am fed up. We'll stop there. These verses you just read through. The Gurudev's commentary is really good in all these things. Because when it comes to explaining things here, Gurudev is superb. There also, but there is no question of description. Here he will describe elaborately with all flourish. And that is very interesting. Because he connects it with our daily life. And that which is not born is not available for description. Nor can you say it is permanent or impermanent. For all that, first of all, you have to prove that it is real. Otherwise, you cannot prove anything more. An unborn something can never be a cause for anything else. Similarly, a non-existent something can never be described or explained or anything. Navacho nivartande manasa saha ajintyam it is. That word is used before also. Ajintyam, because Maya is like that. You cannot think about it. Just like Brahman is ajintyam because of its fullness. Okay, Brahman is ajintyam. Purnatvat. Here what happens is there is nothing there and it is also ajintyam because nothing is not even any quality or anything in it. It is unborn. Then what do you do? Unborn cannot be described. Unborn cannot be explained. Right? Born only we cannot explain now. Why should we bother our little heads about the unborn? Altogether, what did you understand? Nothing is there, including the jiva. Okay. And the next we will do from next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purna Purnamudachyate Purnas Purnamadaya